Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters. I'm your host Mitch, glad to have you here. Here at the Commander's Quarters, we're all about Commander on a budget. Today's episode is going to be a Commander quick take. On episodes like these, I give you my initial take on a newly spoiled Commander from an upcoming set. I'm going to be talking about a potential direction to take that Commander and possible cards to use for that build. This show and episodes like this one are possible because of viewers like you. So if you're looking for some easy ways to help support the show, make sure you like this episode and share it with friends. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Thank you to everyone who's already purchased our merchandise, it really does help support the channel. Another easy way to support this channel is by using our TCG Player affiliate links. So make sure that you're looking for those links in the description whenever you're buying a deck or just individual cards. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support. But before we really jump into this, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. On episodes like these, they are just initial quick takes. This Commander is just as new to me as it is to you. And because of that, I don't have a finalized deck build for this Commander yet. So the direction that I choose to take this Commander today might not be the same one that I do in a deck tech. And because of that, some of the cards I'm going to mention might not be in that deck either. Alright, now that we're on the same page, let's get into it. This Commander quick take is on Drakuseth, Maw of Flames. It's a 7/7 flying dragon that costs 4 red. It has, whenever it attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage to each of up to 2 other targets. To be 100% honest, I think this is going to fit a lot better in the 99 of a deck than leading a deck. It can be a very effective dragon in a dragon tribal deck. Essentially, it can be dealing 17 damage in total every single time it attacks. Now that damage does have to be spread around, but that's probably a good thing. You can pick off a lot of small creatures every single time that this dragon attacks. If I was going to build around this Commander though, I would focus on combat. Starting off, I'd run some cards to give it haste like Dragon Tempest and Fervor. At 7 mana, our Commander is quite costly, so we're going to give it haste so that we can get value out of it right away. This haste will also benefit our other creatures too, but we'll get into them later. We're also going to be running cards like Lockstead and Warhammer that give us even more value out of our Commander's attacks. Our Commander will essentially be doing 20 lifelink damage every single time it attacks. That amount of life gain each turn can really put us way ahead of our opponents. Since combat's going to be a focus, we really want other creatures that have attack triggers too. A card like Inferno Titan pairs really well with our Commander. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage divided as we choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. This can really help our Commander finish off any creatures if it's just short on damage. A card like Siege Dragon is a little more widespread with its damage. Whenever it attacks, if defending player controls no walls, it deals 2 damage to each creature without flying that player controls. So in combination with our Commander's damage, we can pick off a 6/6 and 2 5/5s. And then a card like Hellrider can be especially effective with this stack. It has, whenever a creature you control attacks, Hellrider deals 1 damage to defending player. This is great incidental damage, and we've got plenty of ways to increase all the damage that we do. We're going to be running cards like Embermaw Hellion and Jaya, which both do the exact same thing. They both say if another red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage plus 1 to that permanent or player instead. This can greatly increase the amount of damage that all of our attack triggers do. So when our Commander attacks, it generally does 10 damage spread between 3 targets. With either of these in play, it increases that damage all the way up to 13 on each attack. A card like the Flame of Keld can be even more absurd. Its third lore counter says, if a red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player this turn, it deals that much damage plus 2 to that permanent or player instead. If we're set up properly, that can give us a huge turn with this deck. We can make all these cards even more effective though by getting extra combat steps. Both Relentless Assault and Hellkite Charger are fantastic inclusions in this deck. The more attack steps that we get, the more damage that we can do with all of our attack triggers. And then a card like Dictator of the Twin Gods can definitely be risky, but it's definitely worth it for this deck. It says if a source would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. That essentially means that our Commander is swinging for 14 damage. On the attack, it can deal 8 damage to 1 target and 6 damage to up to 2 other targets. It's going to be really hard for our opponents to keep creatures on the board to take advantage of this damage doubling. And on the other side, it's going to be really easy for us to finish off our opponents once we're set up. But with any kind of a budget deck, there's always ways that we can improve on it with some reasonable upgrades. Gratuitous Violence is essentially a one-sided Dictator of the Twin Gods. The best part about these cards that increase our damage though is that they stack. So the more of them that we have out, the more absurd amounts of damage that we can do. Grafted Exoskeleton is a fantastic upgrade for this deck. It's going to give our Commander +2/+2 in Infect, which essentially turns it into a one-hit kill. It can deal 3 damage with its trigger and then hit for 9 for a total of 12 Infect damage. And finally, a card like Aggravated Assault is absolutely huge for this deck. With it, we can just pay 5 to get an extra combat phase. Again, the more combat phases that we have, the more attack triggers we get and the more damage that we can do. But again, in my opinion, Drakuseth fits better in the 99. Even though that is my opinion though, it doesn't have to be yours. If you want to build around this card as a Commander, there are definitely ways to do it. And if not, Dragon Tribal is always a good place for it too. But I really want to hear your thoughts on this take, so why don't you let me know in the comments below. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check out my quick take on Gargos Vicious Watcher. And make sure that you're following us on social media for more updates and sneak peeks on future episodes. Links to our social media accounts can be found in the description. Also in the description below is a link to the Commander's Quarters Patreon page, and I just want to say a quick thank you to the patrons who have subscribed so far. There are many benefits to being a patron for the Commander's Quarters, including being able to vote on future Commanders for deck techs. There's even a general level tier where you get your own personalized deck tech dedicated to you. I truly couldn't do this without all of your support, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, check out some of our other episodes on budget deck techs, Quest for Quarters episodes, Commander topics, and Creators Quarters. And with that, I'm out of here. Thanks again, and have a good one.